All right, let's dive into one of the biggest questions out there. What really makes us tick? We're about to unlock the hidden operating system in your brain, the code that quietly runs everything from your smallest habits to your biggest life goals.
I mean, think about it. Why is it so ridiculously easy to just scroll through your phone for an hour, but getting yourself to start a new workout or tackle a big project feels like an uphill battle? It's not about willpower, and it's definitely not about being lazy.
The real reason is that our brains are running on some very old, very powerful software. It's like a hidden operating system that's constantly making decisions for us about what we want and where we should put our energy, usually without us even noticing.
So that's what we're going to do right now. We are going to unlock that code together, and by the time we're done, you'll get the fundamental rules that drive you, and more importantly, how you can start working with your brain instead of constantly fighting against it. Let's get into it.
Okay, first up, we have to talk about the absolute engine of motivation. I'm talking about the brain's seeking system. This is the primal force inside all of us that gets us up and moving, always searching, always curious.
And the fuel for this engine? It's a little chemical you've probably heard of called dopamine. Now here's the thing most people get wrong. We call it the pleasure chemical, but that's not really accurate. Nope. Dopamine isn't about the feeling of pleasure itself. It's the chemical of wanting. It's the buzz of anticipation that makes you go seek something out.
And listen, this difference is absolutely crucial. See, dopamine runs the wanting system. It's the motivation that drives you to act. The actual feeling of enjoyment, the liking part, that comes from a totally different set of chemicals, your brain's opioids. So think of it this way. Dopamine is what gets you excited to go to your favorite restaurant, but the opioids are what make the food actually taste amazing once you're there.
Now this is where things get really interesting in our modern world. Our dopamine system can be hijacked by the tiniest little cues. That ping from your phone, the smell of fresh coffee brewing, even the opening chord of a song you love. Each cue triggers an unconscious urge to seek the reward. And before you know it, you're stuck in a powerful dopamine loop.
So, if dopamine is what drives us to seek things out, how does our brain figure out what's even worth seeking in the first place? Well, it learns. It learns through a powerful set of rules that tell it which behaviors to repeat. And one of the most powerful rules is something called variable reinforcement. This is when the reward is completely unpredictable. You have no idea when it's coming, you just know it might come eventually. The classic example? A slot machine. Or, let's be real, checking your social media feed. You're not going to get an amazing post every single time, but the possibility that the next scroll could reveal something great is what keeps you hooked. That unpredictability is what builds the strongest habits.
And then there's this other wild principle called the goal gradient effect. This was first noticed way back in the 1930s. Basically, it says that our motivation isn't some flat line. It actually ramps up a lot the closer we get to the finish line.
You can see this play out everywhere. In the original studies, scientists found that rats would literally start running faster down a maze as they got closer to the cheese at the end. And we do the exact same thing. Think about a coffee shop loyalty card. You're way more motivated to go buy another coffee when you've got 9 stamps and you just need one more than when you only have 1 stamp, right? That feeling of being almost there is an incredible motivator.
But you know, we're not just rats in a maze chasing after simple rewards. Human motivation is way, way more complex than that. We're also driven by these deep internal forces that go far beyond our primal urges. And this brings us to the quest for mastery. This is where we find some of the most powerful motivators of all, the ones that come from inside us. We call them intrinsic motivators. It's that deep satisfaction you get from making progress, from getting better at something you care about. It's the need to feel like you have some control over your own life. I mean, these are the forces that drive thousands of people to build something massive, like Wikipedia, all for free.
The author Daniel Pink has this fantastic way of describing it. He says that the pursuit of mastery is an asymptote. It's a journey that doesn't really have a final destination.
So what on earth is an asymptote? Well, if you remember from math class, it's a line that a curve gets closer and closer to, but never actually touches. And for motivation, that's a profound idea. It means the process of getting better, of learning more, of improving your skill, it's endless. And because the challenge is infinite, our motivation to keep going can be too.
Okay, so we've got the theory down, dopamine, rewards, mastery, all that good stuff. Now for the fun part. How do we actually use this code to build habits that stick? Let's get practical.
First thing we have to understand is a core directive of our brain's operating system. It is built to conserve energy.
There's a term for this, satisficing. And it sounds kind of like being lazy, but it's not. It's an ancient survival strategy. Your brain will always choose the path of least resistance. So the trick isn't to fight that, it's to make the habits you want the easiest path to take.
So how long does it take to build one of these new habits? Well, some fascinating research found that the average time it takes for a new behavior to become automatic is about 66 days. But, and this is a big but, the range in that study was huge. For some people, it was as short as 18 days, and for others, it took as long as 254 days. So the key is to be patient with yourself.
And that journey isn't a straight line. It really happens in stages. At the beginning, the new habit just feels like a chore. It takes a ton of mental energy. Then you get to the middle, where it starts to get a little easier, but you still gotta focus. And then finally, you hit this beautiful plateau, where the habit becomes automatic. You just do it without even thinking about it.
So how do we get there? Well, the research points to a few simple rules. First, start ridiculously small. I mean, so easy you can't say no. Second, consistency is key, but learn to forgive yourself. If you miss a day, it's not the end of the world. Just get back to it. Third, and this is maybe the most important rule of all, never miss twice. One missed day is an accident. 2 missed days is the start of a new bad habit. And finally, design your environment. Make the good habits easy and the bad habits hard. So we've covered a lot here, from the deep-seated seeking system fueled by dopamine to the power of mastery and the science of how habits are actually formed. You've now had a look at your own brain's source code. So the only question left is, what are you going to do with it?